right, you're ready to roll, sir.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the November 14th, 2024 edition of the Jefferson County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. So the commission is charged with regulating the subdivision of property in unincorporated areas of Jefferson County. Today you'll be given the decision of the commission regarding subdivision requests, and the plat representative will receive a decision in writing within 10 business days. Note that any subdivision approved today is not complete. To complete that, the subdivision of your property, the final plat must be recorded in the office of the judge of probate. County staff will be coordinating with the surveyors of today's approved preliminary plats to prepare the approved plats for recording. The commission is also charged with evaluating requests for the rezoning of property and advising the county commission for their final determination. So all decisions made by the Planning and Zoning Commission regarding zoning cases are advisory only, and the final determination of the zoning is made by the Jefferson County Commission in a subsequent public hearing. I'd ask if you have electronic devices on you that make noise, that you silence them, put them on vibrate or something like that, please, so not to disturb the meeting. Thank you. And I checked, mine's off, so hope y'all is too. May I have a roll call, please?
Ken Lowry.
Present.
Cynthia Donald.
Present.
Christy Forsythe.
Present.
Joseph Andrews.
Present.
Joel Blankenship.
Present.
Ken Cush.
Here.
Edward Brown.
Present.
Trudy Strain.
Present.
Kenny McCurry.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have 4.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion regarding the reading of the minutes from the October 10th Planning and Zoning meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the minutes of October 10th.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Okay, so first part of the meeting today is going to be about subdivision cases. The staff will present the case to the commission, and then we'll call for opposition. The applicant and their representative may be asked to come forward to the podium and answer any questions. If everybody would remember this, if you do come up to the podium, I'll remind you, but we need your name and address for the record before you speak. So please plan for that. So our first case today is subdivision case 240081. Mr. Martin, please.
Yes, good afternoon, sir. This is a case at 4350, 4364 Adams Road. The purpose of this subdivision is to divide 3 existing acreage tracts into 4 lots of record for residential and agricultural use. There were variances granted for Lot 1 to have less than 1 acre and for some setback relief for 3 existing accessory structures. That was granted by the Board of Zoning Adjustment on October 28th of this year. There's no anticipated traffic, road access issues with this subdivision. Right-of-way dedication will be required for Allums Road, 25 foot from center line. There's no floodplain and there's no sanitary sewer available to this site, so any on-site septic system will have to be approved by the Department of Health. Staff does recommend approval for this 4-lot subdivision.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Martin. Is the applicant present? All right, thank you. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case? Any questions from the commissioners today? All right, hearing none, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval for S240081.
All right, I have a motion. May I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. And I will add this, after your subdivision case is heard, you're welcome to exit. You don't have to stay, but you're welcome to, of course. Our next subdivision case is S240080. Mr. Martin, please.
Yes, sir. This is at 6130 Warrior River Road, Hueytown. This is a proposed subdivision to divide 1 acreage tract into 3 lots of record for residential use. I do want to point out that your packets did say this is R2 single family. That was a typo. This is actually R1 zoning, and the proposed subdivision does comply with R1 requirements. There's no anticipated road access or traffic operation issues here. Right-of-way dedication will be required for Dogwood Lane, 25 foot from the center line, where adjacent to the property. No floodplain, and again, no sewer available here, so the Department of Health will have to approve any on-site septic system. Staff recommends approval for this subdivision.
All right, thank you, Mr. Martin. Is the applicant present? All right, is there any opposition to this subdivision case? Any question from any of the commissioners? All right, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval for S240084.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion, and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Our next subdivision case is S240087. Mr. Martin?
Yes, sir. This is at 812 Weir Road in Warrior. The purpose of the subdivision is to divide one acreage tract into 3 lots of record for residential use. The subdivision does comply with all A1 zoning requirements. There's no anticipated road access or traffic operation issues. No right-of-way dedication will be required, no floodplain, and again, no sewer here as well, so the Department of Health will have to approve any on-site septic systems for each of these lots. Staff recommends approval for this 3-lot subdivision.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Martin. Is the applicant here for this subdivision case? Thank you. Any opposition to this subdivision case? Okay. If you remember from the first, name and address first, please.
Apologies, this is my first meeting of this type. Bart Perryman, here as the executive for my late father, Mark Perryman, just adjacent.
Would you step a little closer to the microphone for us?
Yes, apologies. I'm not even sure if this is the appropriate meeting for that, but if I had questions about, say, number of units that are proposed for it, future questions about runoff for surrounding properties, just questions of that nature, would that be this meeting or a subsequent meeting?
Well, you can ask your questions, and we can see if we can get an answer for you, okay?
Yeah, 1133 Warrior Jasper Road would be the closest house to it. Yeah, really just the nature of what's being installed, how many housing units are intended, just questions of that nature, just really a general rundown of what's intended for the property.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So, Mr. Martin, do you want to take that, or you want me to have the applicant come up?
I can speak to it briefly
Okay.
if the applicant needs to add anything to it,
Okay.
if that would be helpful. Yeah, this is a subdivision case, so this is not changing the use of this property. The current zoning is agriculture. You see here, the green represents the agriculture zoning. The use is not changing. So this is creating 3 lots, or what was 1 large acreage tract. They will be permitted to put anything that's in agriculture, so single-family houses or mobile homes, if they're were also permitted there in agriculture. And again, it's currently permitted. This would be just, instead of having 1 tract, 1 lot, this is 3 lots. I believe they are, in terms of sizes, 2 of the larger ones are 7, 9 acres. One is, I believe, just under, or about 2 acres. So if you see, just kind of compare it to other acreage tracts around it, and then also these lots across the street, those are much smaller lots there. So I don't know if that answers the question or not.
I heard one more question before you sit down. So he mentioned something about drainage. Would you just summarize the regulations and how that's addressed?
Yeah, essentially, if there's any kind of development that would be larger than an acre, they would be required to meet post-construction requirements, which is our stormwater ordinance. But most times, these small residential construction would not fall in that category. So it's just a matter of putting your BMPs in place and making sure we don't have sediment.
Okay.
Runoff.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Martin. Would the applicant come up? Let me ask you a couple of questions. Name and address, of course, first, please.
My name is Brian Crosgard, Wagon Surveyors, 173 Oxmoor Road. My only additional comment, he's asking about use, was that this is, as far as I understand, for the purposes of a family transaction only. So it's a family's property that they're trying to maintain existing zoning regulations, but be able to have that piece of property assigned to individual family members.
Okay. So that was kind of my question. So were there any plans for construction right now, or is it just?
Not to my, I don't know what their plans are. I don't think they have, I know they do not have anticipation for rezoning, or it would have been part of this procedure. So it's just whatever's within agricultural, and I am not certain in terms of what their development plans are. But as Mr. Martin noted, whatever those would be in terms of development, then they would need to follow any regulations that exist for the purposes of development within agriculture.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, before I do, any other questions from the commissioners? All right, thanks. So, any other questions or anything on the subdivision case from the commission? All right, hearing none, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval for S 240087.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Our next subdivision case today is S 240089. Mr. Martin.
Yes, sir. This property is at 5756 and 5770 Hidden Valley Road. The purpose of this subdivision is to convey two existing lots of record, two acreage tracts into two lots of record for residential use. Essentially, this property was divided by deed between family members a number of years ago without a subdivision case. So this is bringing it into compliance with our regulations. It does comply with A1 zoning requirements as shown here. There's no anticipated road access or traffic operation issues. Right-of-way dedication will be required for Hidden Valley Drive, 25 foot from center line, where adjacent to the property. No floodplain, and again, no sewer here, so any on-site septic system would have to be approved by the Jefferson County Department of Health. Staff does recommend approval for this subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Is the applicant present? All right, thank you. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case today? All right, hearing none, any questions from the commissioners? All right, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval for S 240089.
All right, may I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion and second on S 240089. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. So that concludes our first part of the agenda for subdivision cases. Next, we're going to hear rezoning cases. The staff will present that case, each case to the commission, and then I'll call for opposition. The applicant or their representative may be asked to come forward to the podium and answer any questions. And we do have a timing on these discussions. It'll be 15 minutes for each side. So basically the applicant and any opposition each gets 15 minutes total. And just to reiterate, the Commission only makes recommendations on the zoning cases. The Jefferson County Commission makes the final decisions. Our first rezoning case today is Z 240049.
Yes, sir. This property is located at 7675 Narrows Road in Pinson. The applicants, Patrick Reeves and Joseph Johnston, are requesting to rezone this property from A1 to C1 for a Dollar General store. This property abuts the A1 zone district on three sides. And if you see to the southwest, it abuts a commercial zone district, which is a C-store with gas pumps. The applicant is proposing a subdivision case, a three-lot subdivision case, if this is approved, and the Dollar General store will be on Lot 2. Access will be from Bradford Road. The future land use plan for this case is rural, and the proposed use of retail is consistent. Staff recommends approval.
Okay, thank you, Connie. Is the applicant present? All right, thank you. Any opposition for this case today? All right, just one person? Anybody else? Okay, so you raise your hand first, come up, give us your name and address in the blue shirt. And then just tell us your name and address, and we'll get
Danny
started.
Hughes, 3508 Loney Drive, Pinson, Alabama. And this property connects to mine, it's next to mine. We sent in a petition, my daughter did, with 159 names. I don't know if you have that or not.
And we have it.
Okay. But the major reason we're asking that is we want to remain, we welcome Mr. Brewer to build there, but we do not welcome a commercial site there because we're afraid the other site that's right beside it could be commercial too. But anyway, have nothing against him. We know he's a good person. I grew up across the street from him in Morris, Alabama. Since the last meeting, it sounds like they have asked it to be moved to Bradford Road, and at first they were putting the entrance on Narrow Road. But that's still a major intersection for a four-way stop. And, of course, I had mentioned that it's a steep hill, a major curve at the bottom of the hill, and people were coming through there from Pinson. But the property is within 1,000 feet of Turkey Creek Preserve. Property was originally cleaned off by Mr. Brewer to build a home and possible issues of a land perk, but he could move his home back. That's no problem. That's his business. But also the family neighborhoods in there, the homes are worth $500,000 from that area all the way up to Jackson Road. My house and my acreage is around $480,000 myself. But we're zoned as a residential area to the Morris School and Bomber Jordan. The bus stops come through there. We really do not want our children to get anyone to be hit or any problems to be caused by 18-wheelers. There's various Dollar Generals that are 3.5 miles to 8 miles away. There's quite a few of them. If you go down Bradford Road all the way to the end, 3 miles, turn right, and there is one right there on the right. As I said, Mary McComb sold the property to Mr. Brewer, was planning to build a home and not turning it into commercial property. I understand he wants to divide it into 3 pieces. Croston Grocery has been a landmark for over 50 years there. My aunt owned that store at one time, Annie Knuff. And then her daughter has been leasing it to the gentleman back there for 11 years. You also have Swan's Foods in less than 2 miles up the road, and that would interfere with their business and their profits. They have been there since the 50s.
Mr. Hughes, I hate to interrupt you, but I'm not familiar with the Swan store. What type of store is
The
this?
C store with a gas pump, but it is right there at it's Narrows Road, not Narrows Road. It's Newcastle Road and Jackson Road.
Okay.
So it is up the road 2 miles.
Thank you.
So anyway, the last thing was the surrounding neighbors opposed the Dollar General being built there at 7675. Petitions in effect and currently being signed, and it was signed. So that's our main reasons that we not want that to be in our neighborhood. We just don't want commercial in our neighborhood. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hughes. Other gentlemen? Name and address before you start, please, sir.
My name is Amir Lakhani, and I'm the owner of the store called Croston Grocery, right across the street where they are opening up the Dollar General over there. In fact, Mr. Daniel just covered whatever I just wanted to say, but I'll just try to give a little update on it. Like, I've been there for this store almost like about 12 years, I believe, and it's not just me. Like, we have other stores down the road with the Dollar General, small business like us, it's going to be affected. And we've been there for almost a good bit of years, And it's not that we are in really bad need of Dollar General over there, because in every corner there's a Dollar General. If you look around like 5 miles, 6 miles, whatever, there's a Dollar General over there. So, I don't understand why just Dollar General, it's not like we don't have it over there, like I just said. But to me, in my knowledge, it's going to affect my business since I'm sitting there for a good bit of years. The store has been there for a long time. So I would recommend, and all the neighbors, we got a petition, everyone, all the customers, there are the aged customers, some are with the children, with the family, we don't want all those kind of issues, with Dollar General around there. So to me, I don't know, one of my customer was saying, $1 or $2 General around there has been robbed in past, so we don't want the crime rate to go up, just across the street from me, So those kind of issues, don't really work with the Dollar General. So basically, I'm just saying like we don't need Dollar General over there. But that's all pretty much. Mr. Daniel has covered whatever I wanted to say. So that's all I would say for right now. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you coming up. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in opposition today? All right. Would the applicant or applicants and representatives come up, please? And name and address first.
My name is Patrick Reeves. I'm with Blackburn Group, located at 825 Sisk Avenue in Oxford, Mississippi.
Okay, welcome back, Mr. Reeves.
Yes, sir.
So do you want to take a shot at some of their questions and comments before we ask you some more?
Yes, sir. I can speak to, as far as the vicinity of this proposed store in relation to existing stores, that's just been Dollar General's, that's their MO, basically. They think they're going to provide a convenience and a service to the community instead of having to go, to the nearest Walmart or grocery store for people to stop by and grab any items, after work that they may need to make it through to the next shopping trip. So that's kind of the purpose and the objective of this store location.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
I don't believe so, no, sir.
Okay. So my vice chairman's out today, but he relayed, he had numerous questions for a representative from Dollar General last time that you couldn't answer, so I'm going to try to convey those best I can as he would be here. So some simple questions and then maybe some complicated ones. So the first one I had is, do you know what the crime statistics are on the Dollar Generals that are in the vicinity? And just so I don't catch you off guard, so I did a road trip up to the location and passed one Dollar General on the way and passed two more on the way back out. So, and granted, it's a long road, but do you know what like there's the three nearest ones? There's two in Pinson at 2.9 miles and 3.5 miles away, and then one in Gardendale at 5.3 miles away from the location. So, and I checked those sitting in the parking lot. So, do y'all have a crime problem? I mean, have any of the stores been robbed that you know of?
I do not know. No, sir. I don't know.
Okay. All right. And let's see, what else? Could you tell us a little bit about the store? Like, what items do you sell? Not specific, but, general categories.
So bread, perishable items.
What kind of perishable items?
Such as,
Right.
peanut butter, jelly, your staples, canned goods, frozen goods, deodorant, personal items such as that and then to dog food, paper towels, toilet paper.
Okay. What are the expected operating hours?
Expected is 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
7 days?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what kind of staffing do you usually have during?
Normal operating staff is 2 employees per shift.
Okay. All right. And so I noticed you have a conceptual design in the package this time?
Yes, sir.
So is this the design that you'll be adhering to?
Yes, sir. We did. Originally, we had the driveway onto narrows, and we changed it per staff recommendation at the last meeting.
So in this orientation, is the back of the store facing Narrows Road?
That would be the side of the store. The back of the store would be facing the store.
Okay, so the front is facing the side road?
Yes, sir. That's
Or
correct.
9 o'clock or west position?
Yes, sir. That is
Okay.
correct.
All right. And let's see, do you like the parking lot? Outdoor lighting?
Oh, yes, sir. We will.
What
There
kind
will
of
be a parking-
what kind of lighting do you use? Do you use
It'll be a LED parking lot light.
okay? Is it directed downward?
Yes, sir.
Okay, like it's not on the side of the building shooting out across the road or
No,
anything?
sir. It's not.
Okay. And by the conceptual drawing, is that going to be your, are you going to keep that buffer or existing buffer or plant a buffer?
We will, yes, sir, we'll add that buffer. We'll keep, what we can as far as the existing trees and vegetation, but we'll add to that. I believe it's a 15-foot landscape buffer on the north side. We'll add that buffer
Okay.
to adhere to the county's landscaping requirements.
Okay, so just a couple more comments. So we have a significant amount of opposition. This first page that we have from Carla Sanders and Mr. Danny Hughes. When I went to the store, this was posted on the front of the existing store on the door there. And then we have a petition with, I didn't count how many, somebody else did. It says 159 people signed it in opposition. And then we have various emails. So looking at the proximity of the Dollar Generals to this location and the opposition, I understand you have a business model, or you call it MO, what are your thoughts about placing a Dollar General there when the community doesn't want it, and there's one 3 miles away and one 5 miles away?
I believe it would benefit the community in offering a convenience and a service to local residents.
Okay, all right. I think that's all I have for right now. I'm going to open it up for the other commissioners for any questions.
I have some, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
Mr. Reeves, I apologize I was not here last month, so if we're going to rehash a couple of questions, I'm going to go apologize in advance. You were with the Blackburn Group, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's
and what is the business of the Blackburn Group as it relates to this particular parcel?
So we're the developer as well as the general contractor.
So you would not be the operator?
No, sir.
Okay, so you would simply be involved as developing the parcel, building out the building, the parking lot, et cetera. So you would not be involved in operations or anything else. Okay. So my second question is, this parcel we've been notified of an intent to subdivide the parcel. The Dollar General will be placed on one piece. I see a square behind it, and then there's a giant open area. We've been asked to rezone the entire thing as commercial. Have you been informed, or have you been hired in any way to develop that further commercial property that we're being asked to rezone as that lot at that point?
So the section to the east behind the stormwater
Yes.
line, the property line,
Yeah.
we're only proposing to rezone that because that is the proposed septic area
Okay.
for the Dollar General store.
Okay, so there would be no further construction other than this?
There would be no, correct. We would not be able to further develop that, I believe, due to the septic standards set forth by the county.
Okay, not in the same for the lot two behind the septic area. So that entirety would be undevelopable. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I have no further questions.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Blankenship. So you did remind me that there was another question from last month, and this was for the property owner. Would you mind coming up and give us your name and address, please?
Yes, sir. Thank you. James Brewer, and I live at 548 Morris Majestic Road.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Brewer. So who's running the PowerPoint or the presentation? Would you take it back to the plot map that shows that'll work. Okay. So you own that property that's highlighted in the bold lines, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And you're looking at selling the entire parcel?
Not the entire parcel. It was 3.76 acres, I think it was. Yeah, it's just a parcel. Basically the corner front in the store. Actually, from what I was told by the developer, it would be right at or a little less than an acre. It would actually be the footprint.
Okay.
So
that's the parcel you'll be subdividing the property, and that'll be, if we
Yes.
recommended that would be zoned commercial, and the rest will remain the
yes,
current zoning?
I am. The back lot will be my personal home. I'm going to build a home on that property. I was going to use the proceeds from the sale to clean up the rest of the property. There's a vacant house on the property that sits right next to the road that's an eyesore that I was going to clean up. There's a pond that me and Mr. Hughes share. I was going to clean it up, fix the dam, and just make the whole area look a little better. And the Dollar General people, when they approached me about purchasing the property, they assured me that the store would be a small footprint, that it would have a country store feel on the front, which would match the area, and that I thought it would bring a good tax base and wouldn't hurt the property values of the homes in the area. And the proceeds would give me a chance and opportunity to build my home there and clean up the area. That gave me a 24-foot right-of-way for my power and the access to my back lot where I will have the home, which will be adjacent to the conveyance easement that I said and had set up around Turkey Creek. I already gave back to the creek, back to nature. There has been a easement zone, conservation zone already established around the creek. I paid for that out of my pocket with the first subdivision that was rendered by the original purchase that I made from Miss Mary McCombs. And so that whole creek has its parameters already set up with the proper conveyance that cannot be intruded upon by any development. And I plan actually to donate the creek to the Friends of Turkey Creek, the whole zone, because as you go down Bradford Road further, there's a bridge that crosses the creek that's had a lot of vagrant activities over the years, many, many years. There's several people who spend all summer long there partying, swimming, doing drugs. The place is trashed up. I'm trying to get it cleaned up, and that's my project to the community with the Friends of Turkey Creek to give that back and reclaim all that area and clean it up and have Boy Scout cleanup days there, Friends of Turkey Creek cleanup days there, and kind of incorporate it into the other activities with, I think it's Miles College now that's taken over from Birmingham Southern, their activities with the eco development and everything of the Friends of Turkey Creek and the preserve, which is about 6 or 8 miles upstream from my property. And I was going to, like I said again, I was going to take the proceeds and clean up both properties around the dam of the pond, clean everything up, and build my home there and clean up the front parcel, which I have no intentions of doing anything on the other property and would sign any kind of paperwork to reassure anyone that I'm only going to live on the next the property that's left over. And also the stormwater, that's almost 2 acres there. You can't see it, or 1.5 acres. That would be a nice buffer zone that the developers have agreed with me. They're going to clean it up. We're going to replant the entire area all the way around the store from the back corner, the back of it that butts up to Bradford Road, all the way around to the part that comes to the front where it goes to Narrows Road, and replant it all. And I'm going to keep it up personally, and we're going to plant it in trees and pines and just make it look really neat and clean, because right now it's an eyesore. And I've had a lot of health issues with my job at UPS. I've been there 30-something years. I've had knee surgery back in February, which halted my cleanup of the property. I basically ran out of money. I missed several months of work, had knee surgery, and I'm actually having to have both knees replaced. But I can't do that until I get a new job there, because I can no longer go and deliver. And so, long story short, my health issues has stunted my potential to continue to clean up things, which I started back last year when I purchased the property. And I got ill health and have fell behind financially. And I was hoping and praying that these proceeds would help me continue to clean up this area. I'm all for the area. I love the community. I want to be a good steward and a good neighbor of the community. And I would not intentionally do anything to hurt the community. But that's why I went to the 9th degree when these people approached me about the property.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, 15 minutes has elapsed.
Okay.
We can continue, but just to notice.
Just a few more, if you'd wrap it up for us.
I can wrap it up very quick,
Okay.
sir. And I forgot what I said. I'm sorry, guys. I'm nervous. the bottom line is I have full-hearted intentions to make the area better with me being a resident there and help the look of the whole community. And I think it will improve it because right now it's an eyesore and I'm financially limited to what I can do moving forward without this blessing to continue to clean this area up that I purchased. And I purchased almost 8 acres there.
Thank
So,
you, Mr.
and also, well, in my intentions to clean up the area around the creek, which is right now is horrible. And you can drive over that bridge and look and see what I'm exactly talking about.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brewer.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for your attention. Thank you.
Yes. So,
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
okay. Yes, go ahead.
The first one is for Mr. Hughes. My question is, Mr. Hughes, were you aware of Mr. Armbruster's intent prior to now? And specifically the other members of the community? Yes, sir.
Come on up. We know you're Mr. Hughes, so you don't have to tell us.
I was not aware of what he was planning, but still, even no matter what, and I understand that he says it's a blessing to him, but the biggest thing is the community doesn't want the store there. I mean, and you're hurting 2 other businesses, so I understand y'all are going to make a decision, and I don't want to hurt him in any way. And I understand they're talking about putting it on Bradford Road. And it does need cleaned up. And I appreciate the fact that he's willing to do what he's going to do and also preserve that land because it needs some help. It does. And Mr. McCombs had passed away, married his husband quite a few years ago, and he kept it up. And he passed away from cancer. So it has, his father lived in the house he's talking about that's vacant. And
I believe you answered his question. We're
Okay,
kind of
I'm sorry.
pushed-
I'm
That's
going on
okay.
too long.
Did you had another question?
Yes, I have one other question. I believe this one's from Mr. Reeves. And that question is, are there, as developer, and given the location of this proposed development and its proximity to Turkey Creek, are there specific green construction processes that are used that you implement to ensure the integrity of that area?
We'll follow the county's B&Ps and whatever they require as far as SWIP and notice of intent through the state as well. So we'll follow all county regulations.
But for the record, there are no specific ones that Dollar General would employ or that you would employ as the builder, if I'm understanding correctly,
Correct.
to optimize the preservation of that area.
Not at this time, but that's not to say that we would not implement those.
Thank you, sir. No question.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to close the public hearing so we can have a discussion. So just so everybody knows, we're going to talk about this among ourselves here, so we will not entertain any more questions or comments from the public. Is there any discussion that we want to enter into? Questions, comments? All right, how about a motion?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to case Z-24-0049, I hereby make a motion that we move to deny the rezoning.
All right, I have a motion to deny. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, let's call a roll on this one, please. And just to be clear, a vote in favor of denial.
Yes, yes means no.
Correct. Yes means denial.
Yes means deny.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yay.
No. Yes.
No.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, maybe we need to report prior to you making that decision.
I counted.
Okay.
So I vote in favor of denial. All right. Motion passes. The recommendation to the county commission is denial. Thank y'all for the discussion and information. We're going to proceed on to our next. I should mention, this case will come up before the Jefferson County Commission, and they'll have our recommendation, and they'll make the final decision. So there'll be another public hearing that you'll be noticed about with the county commission to come forth and present your case and any opposition again. All right. So we're going to move on to zoning case Z240051. Connie, you're presenting.
Yes, sir. This property is located at 4157 Sickert Hollow Road. The owner is Fleming Branch LLC. The applicant is Keith Arundel. And Mr. Arundel is recommending or requesting to rezone this property from R4 multifamily to A1 agriculture for residential use in an existing conservation lot. This property abuts the city of Birmingham on three sides. All three sides are zoned holding zone, which means there's actually not a zone district assigned to it. North of this property is zone R4 multifamily. The applicant, we have a concurrent three-lot subdivision case that will be heard shortly. The applicant is actually asking to propose rezone lot 2 and 3. Lot 3 will be for residential use. It may require a variance because it may be less than an acre. The minimum required 1 acre. Access to this property will be from Sickert Hollow Road. There is no future land use designation for this property. The density of the proposed use is 1 dwelling unit per acre, and staff recommends approval. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Is the applicant present? All right, thank you. Do you want to add anything to the presentation? All right. Is there any opposition to this rezoning case? All right, hearing none, any questions from the commissioners? All right, may I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to case Z-24-0051, I hereby move that we recommend approval.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. So to go along with this, you might have mentioned in the presentation that there's a related subdivision case that's tied to this, and we're going to hear that now. So this is subdivision case S240085 that relates to zoning case Z240051. Mr. Martin, please.
Yes, sir. As mentioned, this is the same property. They're at 4157 Sickert Hollow Road. The purpose of the subdivision is to divide an existing acre tract into 3 lots of record for both conservation use and for a single-family residence on Lot 3 there. It does comply with all our regulations for A1 zoning as well as R4, and no anticipated road access or traffic operation issues. No right-of-way dedication is required. Zone AE flood hazard is a part of it is on Lot 1, so any kind of development there would require a floodplain development permit. However, this is, as mentioned before, this area is in a conservation easement, so that would not be anticipated. Staff recommends approval with an exception to the subdivision regulations to allow lots 2 and 3 to be recorded with no road frontage.
All right, thank you, Mr. Martin. Is there any opposition to this subdivision case? So, seeing none, for the applicant or one of you, the surveyor? Oh, are either of you the surveyor on the property? Okay. Do we need to talk about the need for a variance on the one lot? Okay, all right. All right, any questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick question. On the PowerPoint, it looks like it's S240085. In my book, it looks like it's S240075. Can we clarify the correct case number?
I believe your book must be in error. Mine says S24.
I'm looking at the agenda. Is what I'm looking at.
Oh.
Is 75. Is it 75 or 85?
85.
It is 85?
85.
Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to confirm.
Yes, it is. I have 2 things that say 85, so.
Let's go with the plurality on that.
Okay. All right. So having no more, sorry, are there any other questions from the commissioners? Well, before you do, you got to come up and give us your name and address, please, sir.
Name's Alec Jones. the 1 acre lot that's down here in the bottom, we have somebody looking at it, and the 1 acre lot was just put there randomly, which without much thought, which might turn out to be a mistake when we did the conservation easement. We have somebody looking at it now, pretty serious, and they may want to slide that lot further towards the road out there. Not very far, but just, in other words, it would give them, they'd have less road to improve to get there. And it would be much more economical for them to do that. But if they want to leave it there, that's fine. But if they don't, then what I don't want to do is have to come back up here. And I'm just wondering, I'm asking you if there's anything we need to hold in abeyance on that acre, or is this going to nail that acre down right there? And if we need to move
Okay.
it?
Let me, hang on for a second. So, Michael?
I don't think that would constitute a substantive change in order to bring it back.
Okay. So, do you understand all its legalese? So, he thinks it'd be okay if you have to move it a little bit.
Mr. Jones, we'll need your address for the record.
Mr. Jones, he'd like your address.
We'll need your address for the record.
Is it not? Is this not it on here? On my address?
Yes.
Which you want, my law office or my home?
As the speaker, we just need an address.
1210 Financial Center, 35203.
All right. Mr. Jones, anything else?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm closing the public hearing and ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I approve S 240085 with the recommendation for approval with an exception to the subdivision regulations to allow lots 2 and 3 to be recorded with no road frontage.
All right. May I have a second?
Second.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Motion passes. Our next rezoning case is S 240052.
All right, good afternoon, Commissioners. So this is a request, a residential rezoning request from Connor Farmer to go from, you might need to correct this in your staff reports that Mr. Brown prepared, but the request is to go from from A1 agricultural to R1, E1, and cemetery district. This site previously came to the Planning and Zoning Commission as well as the County Commission many months ago, and at that time, Mr. Farmer was trying to do 107 lots, and he has substantially reduced that to 61 lots plus 3 that he's got tentatively reserved for his state, which would be 1 acre minimums. The site is located on Lou George Loop Road, so he's got frontage on both Lou George Loop Road and then a road called Hannah Lane, which is a very narrow road. It's about 16 feet wide total. So his primary access would be on the western side of Lou George Loop Road and coming up toward Eastern Valley Road on Bell Hill. This is the site or tentative concept plan that Mr. Farmer has given us. He's proposing 75-foot lot widths, which is consistent with the R1 district. And it's substantially, well, I don't want to say substantially, but it is larger than the 65-foot lot minimums or minimum frontage that we were considering some months ago as kind of binding until the comprehensive plan was updated. So this does comply with the direction we're kind of going for our recommendations. I realize, like I said again, this is 61 lots. It would be a fairly significant increase in traffic there, but this is proximate to the interstate. It's proximate to the hospital, and I believe this will provide some workforce housing that's much needed in the community. This is a kind of a grading plan that he gave us as well. He is preserving a significant amount of green space throughout the development. And in summary, we recommend approval for this site. I'm going to let the applicant and the developer come up here and speak if you've got any questions. Are there any questions for me?
Yes, I have one to start with. So does this current proposed rezoning does it meet the guidelines that the County Commission recently established for communities and residential districts?
I do want to clarify that because we did not consider the moratorium.
That's why I used the word guideline.
Yes, sir, correct, yes. So I don't want to speak for the commission, but I will say, based off of the direction that we've been given and going back and researching previous residential cases, I'd say trying to extrapolate from that the direction we should be going and the way that we're guiding our internal staff's recommendations, that his plan does meet that. He is providing a secondary emergency access as well. I failed to mention that. Then that will be on Hannah Lane, but that will not be a full access.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that. I think we're good. I'll call for opposition. I do have one order of business. Commissioner McMurray, did you have anything you wanted to?
Yes, sir. I need to recuse myself from this case.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So the applicant's present, I presume? Right. All right. That's good. I just wanted to make sure you're here. We're going to call for opposition. Is there anyone in opposition of this rezoning case? Okay. Y'all can pick. So I think the gentleman on the right in the navy shirt, your hand went up first, so you can come up first, and we'll get to all of y'all. If you kind of keep in mind, we got a 15-minute time limit between the three of y'all. Start with your name and address, please.
I'll be quick. Tom Hanna, 7210 Hannah Lane, that little narrow road that he referenced. As the picture shows, those lots will be right on that little narrow road in my front yard. This came up a while back. It was rejected. Soon after that, I walked out my front door and all that land was being cleared, and the person cleared it told me he was clearing it for a subdivision. I said, well, that was news to me because I thought it was denied. They filled up all our ditches with trees. Now the stormwater and drainage drains across that little narrow road, as he mentioned, into our front yards. The creek that runs on it is now not accessible, so water stands. We had a major mosquito infestation at the end. They just really, I felt like they really were personal in how they did it and how they came in right up to our yard and Mr. Sizemore's yard because we were kind of in opposition to it. The buffer zones that they had originally intended in the originals are all gone now. They took all those out again, coming right up to us and cutting every tree. They did leave some buffer zones along the main road. As far as the traffic issue, if anything, since the last time, traffic has gotten worse because of the hospital and because of what's going on. It's a really dangerous road and a really dangerous area to be adding that much to it. And again, we like being out there because it's a place of nature and it's kind of been destroyed. So I mean, that's their right as property owners. But we just oppose the whole idea of this fitting in right there. And again, that's me right there on the little narrow road, as he mentioned. So thank you.
Hang on. I got a question for you, if you don't mind. This was proposed in a different format previously. So, I mean, do you feel like it hasn't improved enough to be suitable for the area?
No, sir. Not for us, because, again, the backyards to those are now right in my front yard, where they did have a buffer zone originally or tried to say they were going to have some stuff. So, again, it's a really small area to put that much with only one place to come in on a very dangerous road as it is. We've seen fatalities right there in that curve time after time after time with nothing there but agriculture. So I just don't think it's a really safe place to put all of that. And again, the congestion has already gotten worse even since our last hearing because of all that's going on out there.
Okay. All right. Thanks for answering my question. So the other gentleman that was sitting next, are you led? Okay. Come on up and give us your name and address.
My name is Ronnie Tillman. I live at 5062 Fletcher Road, which adjacent to Lou George Loop. And as it's been stated already, it's a safety hazard. They're putting this part of Lou George Loop, you can go in either side. Okay, we already have McCullough Trace, which they're already adding to now, building more homes. They're wanting to put more homes there, and it's just a lot of traffic. We are having the road now is like a zigzag. When you come out by the hospital, it's like a zigzag. People that's coming to the hospital when they get ready to make a left turn coming from Eastern Valley Road into the hospital, if someone is coming from Lou George Loop and going up the hill where they're turning into the hospital, it's like you're going to run into the car. The road, we have been switched from one road to another. Traffic lights, then the traffic light, they take the traffic light, put a stop sign. This also affects Pocahontas. Everything out there, there's a common denominator, which is Eastern Valley Road. Everybody that's traveling on the Lou George Loop side, they got to get to Eastern Valley Road in order to get to the interstate. The people on the other side, where Macadora High School is, they're having to get to the interstate, travel Eastern Valley Road. It's congested now, and I just don't see where we need any more houses out there. The houses, the subdivisions that are out there now, they're not full. So you can't really say that people need more housing. The ones that are there now need to be filled up before you add any more congestion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Aaron Sizemore, and I live at 7138 Lou George Loop. I appreciate the opportunity to speak here today, and I do want to go on the record saying that I've been asked to speak on behalf of some of the other landowners. They could not be here, and that our representation here today versus the last hearing is a little smaller, but it is not synonymous with our opinion of this development. We are still in opposition of this development, so please don't let the lack of attendance here be a reflection of our opinion of this matter. This is a high-traffic area. There are houses that have already been added. In regard to the needed workforce housing for the new hospital, there are 400 to 500 new construction homes that are finished or under construction, with a large percentage of those being rental properties, and that's not suitable to our community. The old hospital was one exit up the highway, so if we need workforce housing, those people would have wanted to live here before the new hospital opened, I believe. Hospital moving one exit is not going to have a huge influx of new people wanting to move to the neighborhood. The entrance is on a hill. I don't have a clicker. All right. If you look here, that mark right there is a driveway going west. That is where, if you're coming down Lou George Loop towards the south, you come through a curve and then you hit that driveway. When you hit that driveway, you start to go down a steep hill. That hill does not flatten out until you reach down there adjacent to the cul-de-sac at the Timberleaf subdivision. The location of this ingress and egress to this new development is going to be a safety concern. It is right in the middle of that steep incline coming down after a blind spot in the curve. We do already have overwhelmed infrastructure, as we brought up last time during our last hearing. Water is in constant repair. The power company engineer has stated concerns for the new developments because they don't know how they're going to get power to them. Sewer has limitations already, and restrictions are being made because of the type of, excuse my not knowing about it, but the way that it's tapped and has to be pumped. There's concerns with new sewer developments being able to work in this community. In regards to the narrow road that is Hannah Lane on the east side of the property as being noted as narrow and only 16 feet wide, almost all of Lou George Loop is only about 18 feet wide, and there are no shoulders for emergency vehicles. Every fire department complains about this area because they can't get in and out when there's wrecks and there's road work. The schools are already at capacity. There is a new McCalla Elementary, and it is at capacity, and it is one of the poorest performing schools in the area according to the state. The kids are not getting the education they need and the time they need to be able to get a good education. And if we add more houses and more houses and more houses, we're adding to that strain. We know that the teacher system cannot keep up with it. We have runoff and drainage issues, as previously mentioned by Mr. Hanna. Other zoning approvals are on 1 acre lots with septic, and that fits this community. We're not asking for no developments, no houses at all. This man's got a job to do. I don't mind him doing his job, but it needs to be conducive to the community. It needs to be something that fits with the families that's been here for 100 years and that want our children to be here for another 100. This is presenting 61 lots on 47 acres. But really, when you take out the green spaces because of the creek, you take out the buffer zones, you take out the estate lots, you take out the cemetery, you're down to 36 acres. You're not dealing with 47 acres. So you're down to about a 1/3 acre lot on the 61 houses. There's a 140-foot wide power easement and 11 acres worth of 3 estate lots. And right above the southern estate lots is the buffer zone, I would imagine to be because of the Bob George Creek. This extra space could easily bring the usable home acreage down to between 18 and 20 acres. So we're putting 61 houses on under 20 acres of usable land for lots. The development on the backside of the loop that has been approved, that does fit the community more, I believe, that was approved by the county after it was shot down the first time, was for 31 houses on 40 acres of land. Those houses are 1 acre lots. Once you take out the roadways, the easements for power, the green spaces, the buffer zones, and 1 acre lots with septic is a lot more suitable to our community. We're not trying to be unreasonable, but we are asking something that fits. We believe that if you were trying to put 61 individual lots that fit what the county has already set as a guideline for what they approved for the property on the backside of Blue George Loop, this would need to be an 80-acre parcel. But it's not. It's 47 before you take away what's going to be cut out. So we ask for a ratio more suitable for the community and infrastructure, such as the other development on the back, and not something that the community is so strongly against, such as a smaller development like the other two that we already have and this one presented here today. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in opposition? All right, how are we doing on time?
About 3 minutes left.
All right, so we're going to give you a deadline, 3 minutes, please, sir.
All right. My name is Eric McAdory, 4543 Harper Road. Assume that's the street right there. My family has been in this area for over almost 175 years. As I came in, I looked at this at planning and zoning. Jefferson County has done no planning in this area. This area is overrun for the schools, it's overrun for law enforcement, and these roads, what my grandfather told me, were old trails. I remember when they were dirt roads, and the county found it, put gravel on them, and later on when David Orange came, he put the smooth roads on. But it has been no planning to handle this kind of subdivisions and number of houses. As one person said, up the road, I think D.R. Horton has developed from one side of Lou George Route all the way to Pocahontas. And this road right here, as the gentleman said, I remember years and years ago, many accidents has been coming down that hill. It was an old curve and curve in, go across a little creek. I have one question that I wanted. I see it says something about a cemetery. Is that for an existing cemetery or for a new cemetery?
Existing.
Okay. But it needs to be a moratorium on these multi-developments in this area. Like the gentleman said, the 1 acre lots that's been going on down there for years is fine. I'm backing them saying that everybody else, and I know everybody on that side of the subdivision, will agree with them that this is not the proper thing to put there at this time. If the county go in and put the proper infrastructure in, prepare for the schools, prepare for law enforcement to be able to handle all these subdivisions, there's a different story. It's not a city. It's rural area. And let's do something accordingly. Let's do something positive and not just overrun the area and destroy the people who've been living there for years and years. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McEnroy. All right, so I think that covers our opposition.
Yes, sir.
All right, so the applicant, would you like to come up and address some of the questions and comments?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Name and address first.
Pass these out to you guys?
Sure, yeah, Michael will get them for us. Tell us give us your name and address, and then, Michael, are you doing name and address? You got it? Okay. Go ahead, she's ready.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My name's Connor Farmer, 120 Bishop Circle, Pelham, Alabama, 35124.
Work them together. Thank you. Okay, I think we have everything.
Okay, thanks for having me. So if you look at this first page on the aerial there, you've got the subject property highlighted in red. And I'm sure you're all familiar. There's been a lot of reporting on it, but directly across the street from the property is like they said, a 200 lot development that D.R. Horton did the last sector in, and they sold a lot of rental houses to somebody and made a lot of problems, it sounds like. But that development, you can stand on this property, look across the road, you can see on the aerial, and it's right there across the road. A mile down the road, you have McCalla Trace that they've talked a lot about that's got several hundred houses in it. And then another half a mile down the road, you've got the new hospital. Right beside that, you've got Letson Farms, Bentbrook. Across the highway, there's Russell, another big development. And then you've got all the retail. My point is that within 3 miles of this property, there are 4 or 5 other developments like this, actually with lots a lot smaller than this than what we're trying to do. And you have all the retail and the new hospital right there in this area. I'm sure you're probably all familiar with that. I was here in January with a different plan. We had 100 to 107 lots, 60-foot lots, 65-foot lots. We had a 36% green space. The cemetery, at that time, we had 2 entrances, one on the back road, George, and then one up on the front road on Lou George Root. And you can see the plan that we had submitted there. And this commission did recommend approval of that to the county commission, and the county commission was a 2-2 vote on that. One member was absent that day, so it didn't pass. So if you flip to the next plan, we've tried to go back and make a lot of changes, and the landowner has worked with us on this to make this a feasible project. I did not come in and cut any timber. I'm a representative for the landowner. After the last zoning was turned down, the landowner made the decision to cut some of the timber on the property, which she has the right to cut timber on the property if she chooses. So we've come in, done a new plan where we've incorporated a lot of green space. If you notice the main stream that goes down through there, we've changed the plan not to cross that creek, not to impact that creek with any fields. We've put in a lot more green space. We've made the lots the size of R1 lots, which we read about in the proposed moratorium. R1 was not in that moratorium. It was not one of the zoning classifications that was going to be within that moratorium. So all of these lots are 75 by 170, a minimum of 12,500 square feet. We have already done a grading plan on the property there. If you flip over to the next page there, and you'll see everything with green lines on it will be, except for where 3 houses could be built on the state lots, will be basically untouched. They won't be graded. The timber will grow back, into its natural state. That's basically 50% of the 49-acre site will be untouched. While I'm thinking about it, I would like to address the concerns of the gentleman here that does live on Hannah Lane. I understand his concern. If I lived there and wouldn't want to look across the street and look into somebody's backyard back to their house either, we're willing to add, these lots are 170 feet deep. We're willing to add, 20 feet. We could put that third lots 36 and 37. We could put a 25, 30-foot buffer on the backs of those lots and plant trees on the backs of those lots to help with the buffer along Hannah Lane right there. Those are the changes that we've made. We feel like we're trying to meet the community in some kind of middle fashion to where there's more green space, the lots are bigger, the houses are more valuable. The bottom line is that I've been developing subdivisions for 25 years in this area. I did Timber Lake up on South Shades Crest, and I did Longleaf Lakes on South Shades Crest, all with larger lots. I currently have a development 3 or 4 miles from here called Camp Creek that you guys approved that is 1 acre to 10 acre lots. We developed that 5 years ago with about 25 lots in it, and we still have about 7 lots remaining. That market's just not moving. The larger lots are not selling because the builders aren't buying those type lots and building spec homes on them. You have to basically just sell them to the public, and then they have to go out and find a builder. And the building costs are so expensive these days that it puts it way up out of the market in most situations. So that's the reason why we're not coming in here and trying to do 1 acre lots. It's not feasible. If she gave us the land free, we couldn't put in the infrastructure and do everything for 1 acre lots and make it feasible for us right now. I do understand somebody's doing it, but D.R. Horton's going to build the same size houses on those 1 acre lots across the road as what they're building on a 60-foot lot somewhere else. And that's not what we're trying to do on our 1 acre lot developments. On the cemetery, the Holt family has created a few of their family members that will maintain the cemetery after the recording is done. So that's why we've got the 3 different zonings here for the R1 lots, and then for the state lots, and then for the cemetery. And the cemetery, when we record the record map, will be deeded over to this partnership that will continue to manage the cemetery like they have been doing for years. We did come in here, we moved the entrance. If you look at the 2 plans, the plan we were here before and the plan we're here now, we moved the entrance down the road to where it is better sight distance. And that's real close to where it would be, but we would obviously have to meet all of the sight distance rules and regulations for that entrance, the slopes, everything else for the entrance into that subdivision that are required by the county with the appropriate sight distance in each direction and the slopes entering on the highway and all of that stuff. So we recognize and realize that we've done that. We've done some preliminary shots, and it would have been a lot of work required on the previous location to get the sight distance, and this location is a lot more conducive for an entrance into the neighborhood. Regarding the back entrance, you guys want an emergency secondary entrance, which is understandable. The reason for that, the way I understand it, is if a tree fell across the road up here at the front and somebody was having a heart attack back here in the back, you couldn't get from the front to the back. Say a tornado came through or something like that. So you need a secondary emergency entrance on the opposite side of the development, which makes a lot of sense. So this will be a gated emergency development that only the emergency callers, the ambulances and the firemen, would have access to the gate. There's several of these around different neighborhoods. I know in Shelby County that we've done it several times, and I've never seen the gates open, ever. It's a very rare occasion where that gate would be used, and anybody would be able to get through there, and nobody would be able to get through there other than emergency vehicles. showed you the grading plan there and the 50% green space. I understand the traffic. If you go out there right now, the hospital has added traffic to the area, but the county is building I don't know how many millions of dollars the county's spending on the road that goes back to it with the roundabout there on Pocahontas, that it's not open yet. So when that opens and runs like it's supposed to be running and all the other feeder roads can feed into it, it will, in my opinion, I'm sure the traffic engineer's opinion, significantly reduce the traffic situation coming off the feeder roads, because the main 4 or 5 lane parkway going out to Eastern Valley will feed that traffic out a lot faster and better flow, especially with the roundabout there at the circle. So we'll move on from the development things, the things that we've changed, and I'll move over to the builder. The builder that we work with, that we have a contract to do this with, is Newcastle Homes. Newcastle is a local builder, lives here in the Birmingham area, been around for 20 years plus, building homes in this area. If you look at some of their other developments there in Hillsborough and Helena, they're in Grand River and Leeds. I did Griffin Park, which was the old Eagle Point Golf Course, with Newcastle. They're doing one right now on Highway 41 that we did together. It's called Melrose on Highway 41 on 280 going out towards Mount Laurel right there. All of these developments, if you look at them, are very quality developments. They're more quality than what's across the street. They're more quality than what's down the street. If you look at their homes, they're typically more of a move-up home builder than a first-time home builder. There's obviously in our county and nationwide a huge demand for new housing, especially workforce housing for all the stuff that's coming into this area, from the Smuckers to the hospital to all the different things that have come into the area over the years. So that's a little bit about the builder. There's some of the plans there that they build, and what you'll see is a mix of front entry garages and side entry garages. So it won't be a neighborhood where you got every single house in the neighborhood has a front entry garage where you pull in straight into the garage and you drive down the road and all you see is garages. On a 75-foot lot, we're able to have a side entry garage with a 25, 30-foot turnaround on the left on one side of the house for the turnaround. So it'll look a lot better streetscape wise driving down the road and in the neighborhood. It'll help the values when you don't have every single driveway with a front entry garage and their side entry. So those are some of the plans that Newcastle intends to build in this development and is currently building in these other developments that I mentioned to you. Be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Farmer. Are there any questions from the commissioners? Well, I have one. So I think I heard you say that in order to provide some buffer for the property owner, I think it was Mr. Hanna, that you'd be willing to do a planted buffer on lots 36 and 37?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we make a motion for this one to proceed, we'd want to include that as a condition.
Do we want to do that as part of the zoning or wait until the subdivision action?
We do it part of zoning.
Do it as part of the zoning, okay. 20 feet? 25? Love it.
Okay, so that was my only question. Any other questions? All right, you can be seated. All
right, thank you.
Close the public hearing, and if there's any discussion. All right, may I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to case Z-24-0052, I hereby recommend approval with the condition of a 25-foot vegetative buffer.
Will you amend that to for lots 36 and 37?
Sure. For lots specifically, well,
yes.
Even though we don't know if they're going to renumber it as part of the subdivision or anything?
Eastern boundary.
Okay, of the eastern boundary, the 25-foot vegetative buffer on the eastern boundary of the property. That's a better way of putting it.
All right, I have a motion so amended. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Opposed?
All right. Would you call the roll, please?
Yea is approved, nay is do not approve.
Not approved.
Yay.
Yay.
Yea.
Yay.
Nay.
Yay.
So what was the take here then?
Yes.
He's recused. Aye. All right, motion passes. Thank you.
It was two nays.
Two nays. Two nays.
So it was Commissioner Donald and you, Commissioner?
6-2 with one recusal. We're not mathing the math this afternoon.
Okay, we have, we'll proceed on to our next rezoning case. This is Z240053. If you want, we'll give it a minute, let the crowd clear out.
I see why you.
This property is located at 4981 Jim Gardner's Road in Dora. The applicant is Jacob Headley, and Mr. Headley is requesting to rezone this property from A1 agriculture and I1 obnoxious odor to A1 agriculture to remove split zoning for residential use. This property abuts the A1 zone district to the south, the east, and the west. The future land use plan for the property is rural, and the proposed use of residential is consistent with the future land use of rural. Staff recommends approval. That's all that I have.
All right, thank you. Is the applicant here? All right, thank you. Any opposition to this rezoning case? All right, hearing none. Any questions for the applicant from the commissioners? All right, hearing none. May I have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to case number Z-24-0053, I hereby move that we recommend approval.
May I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Our next case is Z240054.
This property is located at 1757 Shannon Road in Bessemer. The applicant is Joe Schifano and Tammy Cox. Applicant is proposing to request to rezone the property from RG Single Family to U1 Utilities for a Birmingham Waterworks pump station. This lot is part of a subdivision that was approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission in July of this year. It was 150 lots that was proposed. This is lot 115. The applicant is proposing to have it rezoned to U1 for a pump station for the subdivision. According to our zoning regulations, utilities such as water pump substations are allowed in any zone district. Staff recommends approval. That's all I have.
All right, thank you. Is the applicant present? Kind of figured that was you. Is there any opposition to this case? All right, would the applicant please come up? I'd like to ask a couple of questions. Please, sorry, I forgot that part. Please come up. Name and address before you begin.
I'm Joe Schifano at 120 Bishop Circle in Pelham.
All right, Mr. Schifano, thank you. So the property in question is right behind a residence. How are you involved with the residence? Is that yours or?
As far as the...
Can you put the aerial photo up on the screen? Please. Okay, so So the property in question that we're looking at rezoning is in the box. So there's a house to the west of that. Is that involved in this are they the property owner of this parcel as well?
They are not involved in this subdivision.
Okay.
At all.
All right. And we didn't have any opposition to this. Have you been out in the neighborhood? Have you talked to anybody out there near the property or anything?
With regard to this particular
Yeah, I
station?
mean, I'm guessing you've been out there and you've had the property surveyed and checking
I haven't
out.
had any direct contact with any of the neighbors, but we have surveyed it and prepared engineering plans, which are under review by county staff for the 150 lots that were mentioned a moment ago. And we've been working with Birmingham Water for the water service for the subdivision. And not to go too deep into the engineering details, there were a couple of options that were available to us for boosting the pressure with a bad situation that Birmingham has in the area. This is the best solution for this neighborhood. It's a more consistent pressure delivery than our other methods were, and this is preferred by Birmingham. And it was unbeknownst to us that we would have to have a separate zoning to have an installation like this in the subdivision. So that's the brief history of how we've come to this request today.
So what kind of structure, because all we have is the survey plan, what kind of structure goes in for the pumping station?
So it is going to be a modular structure. It's precast. It'll have a roof on it. It'll look somewhat utilitarian unless the developer does some work, which they plan to do, to make it consistent with the houses in the neighborhood. So their plan is to put a facade on it that matches the homes in the area. They don't want it to stand out and look like an eyesore any more than anybody else does. So it'll look consistent with the homes that are in the neighborhood, and it will be set back from all the property lines at least 30 feet, because this zoning does require a 30-foot setback on all sides. So it will be contained very much in the center of that lot that you see here.
And just a curious question. I mean, is this a noisy pumping station or is it very quiet?
So the pumps themselves, they run off electricity, make very minimal noise, and they're inside of the building. And that sound is sheltered. In an emergency, there is a generator that is going to be also located on the property that would kick in the event that the electricity goes out. And that's the only time that any noise would be heard from that generator. Now, that generator is sound shielded on its shroud, and it is self-contained within the property.
Okay. And I'm guessing with a generator on the exterior, do you have security fencing?
It is planned to have fencing, yes.
Okay. And is it going to be, can you tell me the type? Is it going to be compatible to the neighborhood, or is it going to be basic chain link security?
It would be a basic type installation of chain link.
Okay.
I will say that there is some question, and we're not the consultant working directly with Jefferson County on this. We have a sub-consultant, not Jefferson County, I'm sorry, Birmingham Water. There is some question of how they want that fence to be installed around the property. Our engineers wants the fence, the security fence, to keep people out of the installation. Birmingham has a little different opinion on that, but those two consultants are working through it. But I just don't want to misrepresent that something's going to be there that won't be, because we're not directly involved in those conversations.
Okay. So here's what I was thinking. I mean, you mentioned that the structure would be compatible with existing architecture in the neighborhood.
Correct.
So so that's a condition I'm thinking about. And the other one was for the fencing. Will you be fencing the whole property or just like the generator portion off of the structure?
It would be contained around what is improved there. So it would be at least around the setback area, I guess would be the best description. We wouldn't push it out toward the pieces of the property that we're not clearing and grading for the installation. So
But the whole structure and everything would be in fencing?
That is the current plan, yes.
Okay. So would it be, what are your thoughts on having a condition that fencing facing towards the neighborhood would be compatible with fencing used in the residential areas facing the street? Which would be, I don't know what they use. I haven't been out there. I haven't seen the pictures. So, I mean, if they're using wood fencing facing, or something like that, something Michael, you got a funny look.
This is at a dead end of the street that's not been developed yet.
Okay, but they're residential lots to the southeast, right?
Southeast? I mean,
Well,
those are there, but they're not, we're just going to be access from the interior of the new development.
Right.
Not necessarily seen or anything, because I believe there's buffer requirements along the edge of.
So along the cul-de-sac street, it's going to be buffered?
Correct.
Okay,
All that is a buffer requirement for that side.
okay, all right, that's fine. That, I don't think, thanks for explaining that, Michael. Never mind on that part.
Yeah, so, yeah, at this point, we're still under review on our construction plans. We haven't broken ground on anything here yet. So.
Okay, all right. Anyone else have any?
Is that road the emergency access road that's shown on it? Okay, I just want to confirm.
Okay, any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you, Mr. Sorry, I got it mixed up. Mr. Headley, right?
Shafano.
Shafano, sorry.
Yeah, I think that you're looking.
I've got case fatigue. I've got you down here. Okay. Any other discussion from the commission? If not, may I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, in regards to case number Z-24-0054, I hereby recommend approval, or hereby motion that we recommend approval of said matter.
Can we have the condition about the structure being compatible with?
Structure compliant with, you want to do an architectural review, or do you want it just compatible with?
Comply with, we don't need a review, they just need to comply with.
All right. Let me withdraw and then remake my motion then. Mr. Chairman, in regards to case Z-24-0054, I hereby recommend approval of said matter under the condition that any structure built will be compliant and in the same manner of the existing structures or the proposed structures to be built around it.
All right, have a motion, may I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. So I have, that concludes our zoning business and subdivision business. I do have one other item of business continued for a more formal one from our pre-meeting to talk about. So thank you all for sticking with us this long. We were talking about the density of stores in unincorporated Jefferson County, similar related to the Dollar General store that was on the agenda today for rezoning. And in my research, I found out there were a lot of stores like Dollar General and Dollar Tree in the Jefferson County, metropolitan Birmingham area. And I talked to Josh and before the meeting, and what I'd like to recommend, if everybody is agreeable, is that the staff start looking into a way to have some structure to the applications we get for stores like that. Either a moratorium, which I'm not real high on, or something more formal in structure, like an overlay district that City of Birmingham has, and other entities, both counties and cities across the U.S. that limit the proximity or density of stores like that.
Can we how are we defining quote stores like that? Or are we defining it in the same manner as the city of Birmingham, or how are we defining that?
I'd like the staff to come up with a recommendation on that. So some stores similar to a Dollar General or Dollar Tree that are coming in for approval in, I'm just going to say it like I want to say it, an uncontrolled manner or an unstructured manner. So I'm not against them. I just think we need to have some sensibility with it.
We're talking about in the entirety of the county or in rural areas only?
I don't know. Maybe it's both.
Okay.
But, I mean, it's a concept. It's not I didn't come with all the answers. I just know I pulled up and looked how many Dollar Generals are in the metropolitan area, and I was shocked. Just them. And then I know there's Dollar Trees and some other things like that. And I've seen, what Birmingham's done with their overlay district, and it's not really about the stores. It's more about having available healthy foods in the rural areas.
I'm all for healthy foods.
So,
I think the rural areas might be better off than us sometimes with all the farm fresh goods there.
probably so. So, Michael, I know Josh was agreeable to it. So, could we have something brought back to us, a concept or proposal for the December meeting?
I don't know if we'd be able to get something together for December. But
Okay.
we definitely have something in the coming months.
Okay. By January, we'll be fine. Okay. All right.
Comprehensive plan going, we're going to rewrite the zoning ordinance and the subdivision regulations right now.
Yeah. So anybody want to add any, I know it's just, I brought it up. Does anybody want to add any discussion to it besides Mr. Blankenship?
Just, Mr. Chairman, whenever possible, and we already have provisions for this, but especially given the areas that we have to safeguard our waterways, if we can encourage those developments and others as well to integrate as much as possible construction practices that safeguard those waterways, in particular mitigating runoff, that would be great. Already established?
Yes, all that's built for our subdivision.
Okay, good deal. So then enforcement might be the issue then next. Okay, thank you. Never mind. I withdraw it.
So Josh, you missed the good part. We assigned Michael a task. Okay. So, well, actually, all of y'all. So.
I got that resignation letter.
Michael, you got to delegate, man. Just remember, you get the power to delegate.
Or I could just get a pencil permit.
There you go.
All right, Mike. Okay. So thanks.
We'll get you something within the next 2 weeks.
All right, that sounds good. And I wanted to let everybody know, I appreciate everybody that was here. And next week we have election. Next month we have elections. So y'all come and join us for that part too. So we're adjourned. Thank y'all. Have a good day. Hello, this is Ken.